Hello, hello. Hi, how
Hi.
are you guys?
Hi.
Finally doing another Lazy Gang stream. I'm so happy. The first one of 2025.
Oh
So
my gosh, here
it
we are in the
is.
new year.
So welcome. If you guys don't know us, which I'm pretty sure you do, I'm Malin, and this is my channel. And today I'm going to be attempting to go back into my draft 4 of the Art of Summoning Demons. I've got some catching up to do as usual. I'm always leaving a few days behind and then catching up in one go. So that's what I'm doing today. I need to get about 900 words or so in
Ooh,
for me to catch up on the spreadsheet. So yeah, and I have
excellent.
my lovely co-host Anna with me,
Hi.
and you're writing Romantasy today.
I am, yeah. I'm writing in Hera's book, surprise, surprise. I really, really, really want to try and finish my zero draft this month. I
You could
do
do
not
it.
know if it's possible, but if I were
What's
a mad
what's the
person, I think
point
it might
you're
be.
at? Like in
Um,
terms of like a beat sheet type of point, whereabouts are you?
I just finished writing the midpoint. And I think the reason why I was going a little bit slowly is because after the midpoint, things became really fuzzy. Needed to like sit down and actually figure out the sequence of events for the end of the book. Um,
Yeah,
and actually,
I
Luke and
also
I
do
went out
that.
to dinner last night, and I was like, help. And I told him the whole book and was like, how do I get her out of this? And we
Oh God.
outlined the rest of the book together. And so I'm
Oh my
because now I feel
God.
like I'm ready to write it this morning.
That is
So I'm
really
excited.
sweet that you're able to bring that up to him and that you guys are able to figure that out
Yeah,
together. That's so
I
adorable.
I was nervous because I have not shared a lot about Hera's book with him because it's just a thing, but I think he actually has fun working on it with me. So
Okay, good.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Exciting. And we've got some people in the chat that have joined us. I'll quickly say hi, and then we'll briefly talk about our theme, and then
Mm.
we'll jump into a sprint, which I didn't have my focus ready, but I think that's what I'll get us ready in. Okay, so we've got Keiko. Hi, binging Netflix. Enjoy. What are you watching? Hi, Nina. How are you? Nina says, I'll be lurking for the beginning while I get some housework done. That is absolutely fine. These are productivity sprints. They don't have to be writing sprints. So, whatever use
Mm.
you find out of them.
Yeah.
We've got Marta. Hello, hello, Marta. We were just talking behind the scenes right before coming in. We were just talking about your new video because I
Yeah.
don't know if you saw, I left a comment to say we're literally going to talk about that today. Not specifically what it's like to give your work to someone else to better read, but just in general relationships with people you share your writing with. So
Mhm.
perfect timing, like perfect. Hello, Camille. How are you? Hello,
Hi.
hello. Hi, Dai. How are you
Hi.
doing? I miss your streams. Are you still streaming or are you streaming at non-European friendly times? Perhaps. I don't actually know. But yes, if you're streaming again, let me know because I'd love to jump in every now and then. Keiko says, I wanted to write today too, but I got hooked by that show, probably for the call of my reading journal. What show is it? Oh, American Primeval. Okay. And it is
Oh,
about the start of the Utah War among the stories of the protagonists. Okay. Interesting. I
I
saw
know nothing about this.
no, but I've only just started seeing it on Netflix. Like, just I think it was on Netflix. Like I've seen images of it. Like it's popped up now, but I've not heard of it before. So I don't think I've seen it advertised before
I have
that.
the Utah War. Am I just a dumb American?
I have no idea what the Utah War is, and I'm allowed to not know because I'm not
You
American.
so are. Don't worry, that was not me asking you.
But I think, I mean, it looks like a western. It just looks like a western from
Yeah,
what I've seen.
cool.
Um, Marta says I'm working on finishing a late crochet Christmas gift during the chatty bits, and we'll be working on my project site sequel reread during sprints. I'm so excited for both of these things.
Oh,
Exciting! Ah,
congratulations, Marta, on finishing your draft. That is such a huge accomplishment. I hope you're soaking it in and just like enjoy that.
Yes. I mean, I don't have any gifts to show you, but if I did, you would get a your Jod approves.
Ah.
With a little angel singing in the background.
Yeah, yeah.
But yes, that is an accomplishment. You should be proud of yourself. And Mara says, I love that. Can't wait to get into the discussions. Yay. Di says, I haven't streamed in a while, but I'm bringing it back soon. Yes, exciting. That sounds fun. Mormon Rebellion. That's another
Oh,
name for it. War between the US Army and the Mormon militia in 1858.
wow. I had no clue.
Never,
I'm
never heard of this.
I'm an East Coast gal, so that's probably why.
Yeah, fair enough. Also, I'm doing a mix of laundry, housework, says Di, and writing a new chapter 16. Okay. It's hard, though, to get back to the writing mindset. Yes, it is. When I've been
Mm,
editing for a while, 100%. My goal this year is to do more drafting because 2024 has been a revision year.
yeah.
Just mostly revision. Actually, the second half of 2024 is just easy to forget what the first half was like. But
You did finish Space Pro. Or when did you
yes,
finish that?
that I think I finished it in the first half of the year because I sent it to you guys when I went on my honeymoon in May. So I probably
Yeah,
finished it like in March, April, something like that.
yeah. I know you
So
finished it when we were supposed to finish, and then I did not. I
probably March.
think it might have been
Mm.
March.
And then afterwards, I was like, I'm doing a quick pass of revision, like just a quick line edit. And that probably took me a month. I can't remember. So yeah, I was
Yeah.
probably ready to send it around May. Yeah. Marta says, thank you. Honestly, it felt really anticlimactic. I do not recommend finishing a draft on a plane. Why? That
Oh,
seems it's a good. I don't know. I like travel writing, but
yeah.
we'll see.
How do you guys write on planes? Because I am so self-conscious that the person behind me can read my screen. And like these days, every plane I'm on is like sardines. Like I always have two people like right next to me. Like, how are y'all writing on planes? I love
Um,
the idea of it.
I haven't been writing on planes a lot, but recently, not to brag, but I have been traveling business class on short haul. It's exactly the same
Mhm.
seat as in the back. You just get food and champagne. Um, because I've been using my Avios points, and also it's
Yeah.
like I book the flights during the business sales that British Airways does, and there it's cheaper than Eurostar to get back home. So
Ooh, there you
it's
go.
been cheaper, like if you get it on sale basically, and then you can use some Avios points.
Mhm.
So that's why like that's actually doable because you have your seat, then a seat in between where there's no one, and then another seat that's basically business
Uh,
class
that's what I
on
need. Yeah.
yeah. And so I'm not as worried about it, but also I tend to have probably dark mode or quite dim screen.
Yeah.
Um, and when I used to, I hope no one that I currently work with ever finds this channel and finds this specific stream. But when I used to write during work hours, when I had to be in an office, I would like write on the side of, like, I would sneak in some words on the side of my InDesign document, and you can change the background of like the sides. So it would literally be a dark gray background and I would write in black, or like a white background, I would write in really light gray, and you change
Yeah.
the color of your font and no one can really read what you're writing. Like you can't see. So it would be riddled
Fantastic.
with spelling mistakes because I could barely see what I was writing. But yeah,
I love that.
that's the secret, the sneaky writing.
Yeah. I had a friend
Um,
tell me when she was writing at work, she would open up an email and
oh,
write it in the body of an email. So it looked like she was
that's
typing a
clever.
really
That is clever. I love that. But yeah, small size fonts, light colored fonts, that kind of stuff,
Hmm.
if you're worried about
Okay.
it. Marta says, I was like, woo, I'm done. Oh shit, still 2 hours to go. What now? Okay, yeah, fair. Nina is back. I turned on both the washing machine and the dishwasher, so future me will have more work. Oh, sorry for
Yeah.
future you. But good
I have
job.
a huge hamper of laundry right here that I need to fold that has been
Oh
there since
no.
Wednesday.
Oh.
But I will not be folding it on the sprints. I am gonna write.
Yes, writing sprints. No, you can
Mhm.
do whatever you want, really. Um, Guys, says, thank you so much, me. Kind of few. Marta says, 2024, I did a quick pass of revisions, which ended up taking all year. This year, I want to do more than that. Yeah, no, Marta, I meant a genuinely quick pass of revision when I was saying that. I meant as in, like, if I see a spelling mistake that I can correct, if I see a name mistake, because when I pantsed the book, sometimes I would change my mind about like hair color or someone's name or whatever, and you notice these things as you go. So just basic stuff. Nina said, I'm doing an outline-a-thon inspired by Kate Cavanagh's video. Once I'm done with the 4 or 5 outlines, I will decide what project to focus on this year. I
Nina,
love that.
this is enough.
Are you vlogging it? Are you filming it? Are you like gonna talk about it on Discord or something? Like, I'm very curious how that goes for you.
Yeah.
Marta says, oh my God, I did actually have the person next to me keep looking over my shoulder one time, but I thought I was just imagining it. Then he asked me if I'd published anything because he wanted to read it. What?
Oh.
Marta, what if it was an agent? Can you imagine?
Oh my gosh. Did you give
Then
him
I
your
thought a
YouTube
little bit.
channel?
These days I tried to tilt my screen towards the window. Yeah, just a slight little. Can't see if I'm angled. Yeah.
When I was on a flight, I had the middle seat and I was next to the worst man spreader I've ever had. And I've had quite a lot of them, but this one was on another level. So I couldn't even, like cross my legs or drink a can of Coke on that flight, never mind pull out a laptop. So,
God, yeah. No, not ideal. Usually I prefer writing on trains than on planes. I feel like you get a little bit more space on trains in general.
yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Pete. Hello. Meister retired from Delta. I've been flying free all my life.
Oh,
That's
good for
very lucky.
you. And
Amazing.
Delta's a good one too.
Is it? I don't really know American Airlines, to be fair, in general, but
Yeah, Delta's my favorite.
nice. 2 outlines already done. Amazing. A literary fantasy and a fun fantasy. And now I'm working on a dark academia mystery. Oh, that sounds very fun. We're getting to the end of the comments. I promise we're going to get into sprint soon. Marta says, I've done the email thing before. Nice. Nice. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to pop up this little banner here, which is our theme. Today, we wanted to chat about writing relationships, and what we entail by that is any writing relationship you have with anyone, as in the community at large, the alpha readers, if you have any who read chapter by chapter when you're not even finished with anything, the critique partners with whom you discuss everything and know the details of the future 3 sequels you have in mind and will never probably write, the beta readers who you might not have as much of a relationship with, but also are really keen to read your book or have expressed interest in it, and even just your writing friends you might not share any writing with, and your friends in general that you might be like, hey, would you mind reading this even though you're not a writer? So writing relationships in general. I'm going to pop up the first question on screen now, but we're not going to answer it yet. We're just going to jump into a sprint and then we can discuss this when we come back. And the first question is, how hard/easy do you find it to share your writing at different stages? So whether it is when you're in the middle of the 0 draft and you're not finished, versus at the very end when this is your final version and you're like, this should not move anymore and this should be the final version 5.75 whatever underscore final and final, that one. So if you guys want to have a little think about that while we sprint, we're going to do the same. And I'm going to share my screen and then we'll fix my focus together because I haven't done that yet.
Ooh, let's pick out a new vibe.
Yeah, let's pick a new vibe. Okay, so here's my focus, and 15 minutes is definitely too short. Let's do, what do we think? Is 30 about right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, 30.
Make sure we get some good writing time in because we're going to yap a lot.
Yes, exactly. So I'm thinking 25. Sometimes I feel like it's a little bit too short. Maybe I need 5 minutes. Also because we're talking on screen. So while we're chatting, everyone else in the chat can go to the bathroom and do whatever. But we have to use the sprints to do that. So I like to add another 5 minutes. What should I do? Oh, I wanted to use the countryside morning the other day.
Beautiful.
Isn't that cute?
Oh my God.
Gorgeous.
Stunning.
Okay, if everyone is ready, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Let me stop this break. There we go.
Phew.
How did that go for you? Was it a good 30 minutes?
Oh my gosh, it so was. It so was.
Good.
All of that pre-planning last night really helped me out. So I got 716 words.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Like,
They're really
thanks.
bad.
Yeah.
They're quite bad, but I'm excited.
Well,
I'm
I
having fun.
mean, it doesn't matter at this point. Like, you just want the
Mhm.
words out now, so who
I
cares? And plus,
desperately do.
you probably also think worse of yourself at the moment than when you reread yourself, because it's always the case. Like when you reread it, you'll be a bit kinder to yourself, and then you'll notice the good stuff, and you'll be like, "Oh, that sentence is good. Oh, I
Yeah.
actually like this." So don't worry too much about it now.
Yeah, yeah. At this point, I just really desperately want to get to the end of the story. So I'm just
Yeah.
done caring.
Right.
But yeah, it's fun. Um this book is very like inspired by Inception, and so I'm at the part of the book where I really get to play with the dreamscape and have things happen in the landscape that are like, unexpected and magical, and it's fun to just be like, what what in this dreamscape.
I love
Um,
that.
yeah, so I'm just truly pantsing and making it up as as I go.
Nice.
Yeah, how about you?
Um, I got about, so I'm always like, I'm going down the entirety of up to the point where I stopped revising. And
Hmm.
obviously, it's color coded on Scrivener, what I've written and what I've left as it was. So, what I tend to do is I just scroll down to the point, see the word count, and then I take out like 200 words or so, depending on how much I can see is still in white, which is like the original color, like it's on dark mode. So I would say probably around 562 words, because
Oh,
it told me 762, so I'm taking out 200, but I might be wrong.
I mean, that's a good chunk.
Yes,
Can
yes,
you
because
tell
I've
me
got
what
one
scene you're
page
at?
left. Oh, it's when um Kaz and Olive are discussing Drew, and
Mm.
they're about to go and try and find him without giving.
Mm.
It's that chapter, so it's right after the binding, and it's when they're like, well, so there's a problem, the book is missing, and this guy I think is the suspect, and blah blah. And yeah, I'm not gonna say much more than that.
You're getting so close. I'm so
It's
excited.
very close to the end. It's got one, two, three, four, five chapters, and then I've separated the aftermath as like an epilogue chapter. So I think before it was part of a different chapter. So six
Mm.
in total chapters left.
Amazing. I'm so
But yeah,
excited to read this book again.
I hope you are, because oh my god, I've given it to you so many fucking times now. You gotta.
No, I mean, I haven't more than like the, first three chapters, the rest of the book.
Yeah,
So I'm
that's
really
true.
excited.
But yeah, the funny thing and what I'm really happy with is that it's drastically reducing in word count. And I
Oh.
didn't think myself capable of that when I was revising it in draft 2 and 3. And I was like, I keep making more words instead of less. And like, it's too many. Um, and now I'm sitting at 91,300.
Oh, that's
Even
great.
even though technically I have like two entirely new chapters at the front that didn't exist before.
Mm,
Um, and so I should be at more words, but I have been deleting loads of passages that I'm like, this is useless, or like, we don't really need this interaction, or
mm.
yeah. So I've been trying to be a little bit more, yeah, just intransigent. So
Interesting. Cool.
we'll
Awesome.
see how that works out. I need to have like a break and then reread it all at once to see if this new flow works, but I'm happy with the progress.
Amazing.
Cool. Should we see what we've got in the chat, and then we'll talk about the thematic question and answer it ourselves, and then see what people are answering. I think there were some answers to each other. And then Keiko was talking about the show she's watching, saying, I can't tell if these actors really talk like this or if they're putting on the biggest, thickest, stereotypical American cowboy accent I've ever heard. That army captain. Okay. And I think that was about the Flocus
Mm,
background, which
it
is really
was
cute.
really lovely. Every time I looked at the timer, I was like, ah.
Yeah, it's really pretty. It's so English looking, but just like the best possible, sky, which we normally don't have. So
Ideal.
exactly. Most of everything is comments back to the question, but we did get a Wild Wallace. Hello, hello. Good morning. How are you? Happy time zones. Um, and also Nina says, I know I'm not supposed to make a decision yet, but this Dark Academia mystery is everything. The playlist, the vibes, the names. I think it is my favorite so far. Exciting. Also, you can take notes of what gets you the most excited as you're working on these outlines. So I think
Hmm.
that's fine. Marta did a little intro for the reread vlog, made a tea and opened up my documents. Also almost done with my crochet project, just from the pre-first sprint talk.
Oh,
Are you saying we're blackbirds, Marta? Are you saying we talk too much? Good.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
Kemi says, I read over chapter to make a small change and made breakfast. Nice. Good job. Nina says, I wish I could just lock myself in an old house for the woods for 2 weeks and do nothing but write this book.
Oh,
Yeah.
you and me
Yes.
both, Nina.
Yeah. Writing retreats, solo writing retreats are great. Would
I really
recommend.
do want to do one sometime in Q1.
Mm. I think you mentioned sometime in Feb, no? Or is that not the
Yeah,
date you want to do it? Okay. Because I
I
might
would.
not, I'm really being good with my budgeting and financial year so far. I know we're only 12 days in the year, but I'm not going to do, like, it was a bit of a treat yourself moment when I was like, I'm going to do the soul writing retreat because I had to, pay for my hotel
Of
night and
course.
buy myself train tickets and everything. But I might try and accompany you in the working just from
Yeah.
home, or like move around to a cafe or something type of vibe.
Yeah.
Uh,
I might even go back to a club that I had done and
yeah,
just do another trial just for the weekend. We'll see.
yeah, that is good. That's a good idea. Well, it says I'm still in bed, but working up the energy to get up, make myself tea, and update my journals. Very good. I mean,
I loved your video yesterday, Wallace. I've been like secret past like 3 months that I would be getting a 25 and 25 video from you, and it exceeded all expectations.
ah, yeah, I saw the beginning, but I'm still in the middle of watching it, so I've not left a comment yet, I think.
Mhm.
But I do love the stickers you've put at the front, the
Oh my
little
God.
sun faces or moon faces. Very cute, very shiny. I love anything shiny. Give me shiny stuff all the time. It's
Yes.
just it works for me. Um, Mars says, Malin, how does Anna get to read the book multiple times? But I'm only allowed the first 3 chapters. I call cheating because she's my critique partner. She gets to see the ugly sides of my writing. I give her the
Those don't
stuff.
exist.
Yeah, this is what we're going to talk about today. It's about the difference in relationships with different people you share your writing with. It's perfect. Yeah, and I might segue into this very soon. Let me just very quickly get to the end of those other comments.
It's because
Uh,
I owe Malin a lot. That's why.
it's because what? Sorry, I think you cut off
Because
for me a little bit.
because I owe Malin a lot of free labor. That's why.
There you go. I'm cashing it in. No, I'm saying I very much underestimated how long this project would take. What am I supposed to do with my hands now? Yeah, fair enough. Well, you can start a new crochet. You could do something
Mhm.
else with crochet. I'm literally doing a solo writing retreat this week. Yay! Going to an A-frame
Yay.
cabin in the mountains. Oh my god, that sounds beautiful
Oh,
and
please tell
exciting.
me you're making a video out of it so I can live
You better
vicariously
make
through
a
you,
you better make a vlog out of that. You
girl.
better. We're waiting for it. And you better post it faster than the London vlog. No, you don't have to. But if you do, I'll enjoy it. There. Keiko says, my Plot Bunny Time Travel Septennial Trials Project Time Maze Runner, as I call it. That is a long ass name.
Ooh.
It's just driving me crazy. I think I make it high fantasy. I can work with that better than sci-fi. Okay, well, if you feel like it's giving you the direction, you should go with the flow, I
Mhm.
think.
Mhm.
Okay, but if the mini weekend writing retreat wasn't solo, would that still count as splurging, or would that be financially responsible? Don't tempt me, Marta. Well, it's still called cheating. Oh my god, Wallace, I'm so jealous, and please make a video. Okay, these were all the comments, and I'm using that comment from Marta as a jumping point to start talking about this topic. I'm also scrolling back up, which is why I look distracted. It's because I am. I'm trying to find the first answers. I think this was the first answer. It was Marta's. Okay, I'll stay on that. Cool. So, how hard / easy do you find it to share your writing at different stages?
Mm.
You want to start?
I think it really, really depends on the person, of course.
Hmm.
Um, and I think
That's the thing.
the longer I've been trying to write novels, I think the more open I've become to sharing earlier.
Yes.
Because I think I've seen how like painful it is when I work on something by myself for so long, get it to a point where like I can see with my eyeballs and poured all that
Yeah.
time into it. And then it's like when you send it to people, you kind of almost feel like, please let it just be done.
Yeah.
And that's not the like attitude that you need to have at that point.
Yeah.
And so I kind of almost like urge to share almost at the point of like outlining, at the point of inception of like, am I going in the right direction? Like, because at this point, it would be
You
really
can
easy to
share.
retool it.
Yeah.
And
You
you
are
know,
technically, you've been sharing mid, draft with Luke.
mhm,
So I feel like that's already huge progress, perhaps, compared to how you would have worked on things
mhm.
before. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, really. I'm trying to be more open to
Yeah.
getting more help with just structure stuff. Like, because at this point, it's
Yeah.
so easy to read. And I think that's more helpful in the long run. So yeah, it really depends on the person, and I'm trying to get more open to like bringing more people in early.
I think this is to jump back on what Marta was saying about, I call it cheating, because I've given you the book several times. Um, while I've been quite guarded, resource guarding my book with other people, including beta readers that I've asked to just review the first 3 chapters. A part of it is also, I don't know about you, but I constantly feel like I'm annoying people by being like, "Can you read my book?"
Yes, it is the most vulnerable thing ever to go to a friend and ask them to do that for you. Even if
Yes,
you know that they've asked to see the book, it
and
still feels like asking
part
such a huge task.
yes, and I think part of what's fixing that for me, and why I agree that it also depends on the people you share it with, is that when you've had a relationship with someone for a long time about your writing, and you've been in, some of those passages of time, depending on like, middle stage and like final version, etc., with the same people, you learn to trust them more to tell you immediately if they're like, yes, I can, no, I don't have the time, and to not
Mhm.
lie to you.
Yeah.
um and I feel like for me, it's a lot. If you told me like, send me wherever it's at right now, I would probably send it to you, even if it's like it's in fucking shambles. There is nothing to give. But if you
Yeah.
were like, please, I've got time right now, give it to me right now, I'd probably be like, yes, because we've built that trust over time and over trial. And like,
Mhm.
by doing it the first time, you start the process early on to be like, yes, actually that went well with this person, I could do that again.
Yeah.
It's slow steps of like, it is a relationship, and it is like building it
Mhm.
up slowly.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, making sure that you jive together and that your
Yeah.
story brains work similarly.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and that you like the same kinds of stories because obviously you're gonna work
Yes.
even better
and
with that person.
And I think it's also how you feel about their feedback and what you're gonna take it as. And I feel like
Hmm.
the way you communicate is super important, because if anything, there are some people that I'm like, you would be probably an amazing critique partner or beta reader, but I'm scared of how you're going to communicate the feedback to me. While with other people, I'm like, I
Yeah.
feel like we communicate in a similar manner, therefore I'll understand what you're saying there, and I
Hmm.
won't take something personally or be really scared to read it, or I don't know. Like, it's a
Yeah,
very vulnerable time, so
it is. It is. And maybe I'm going off. here, but that's why like I feel so strongly about whenever I beta read for someone or ask them to beta read for me. Like I love having
Yeah.
like Zoom calls about it because it's so hard to like relay things via text. It just
Yes.
by nature comes off more harshly in writing. Where
Yeah.
we could just talk. Like
Yeah.
you could see my expression, see how excited I am about the book, and that like I truly am so in love with all the parts of your project that
Yeah.
I wrote about, and I feel like having that conversation is so helpful.
Yeah, having a chat at some point or another. And that's something that Marta actually said in her video. If you guys haven't watched it, go watch Marta's video about sharing your work with beta readers because it's
Mhm.
literally the topic that we're talking about now. I like that there was that mention of um, doing a little meeting at some point, or I can't remember what
Yeah,
the wording
the
for it
round
was, but
table.
yes, a round table. Thank you. That's a great idea. Just
Yeah,
being able to talk about it. Yeah.
yeah.
And not just reading comments and being like, oh, she didn't leave an emoji and she put a point at the end of the sentence. She must hate
I
this.
know. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, no, this is just how this person writes.
hmm Yeah.
Um, should we have a little look at what people are saying in response to this? So, Marta answered this. I find it super easy to share my writing with my boyfriend. He's definitely my knows about my 5 sequels I'm never going to write person. Everyone else is scary, but I found that after my first beta round, it seems less scary than before. Exactly. I agree with that. Like it's still scary, but it's also exciting. Also, the later in the process, the less scary it is. So I'm trying to challenge myself to share the second book in my series earlier, possibly draft
Mm.
3 instead of draft 4, with people who aren't my boyfriend. Maybe book 3 will be shared at draft 2, and no one is allowed to ever see draft 1. Just to like draw back on this, the part where you're saying the later in the process, the less scary it is. I find the opposite because when you share something earlier, you have all the excuses in the world, and you can say to your beta readers, it's riddled with mistakes and it's problematic, and there's loads of things don't like, yeah, the plot makes no sense, blah, 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 because it's an early draft. It's
hmm
not my
Yeah.
fault. It's just, while when I'm sharing something at a later stage and I'm like, this is meant to be done, and if you find a bunch of problems with it, then I'm going to cry because I think it is done in my head.
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes you like um feel even more vulnerable when you hand something to
Mm.
somebody and say, like, I can't see else. And if you get a list of stuff back, you're like, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, you feel like, how am I not seeing all of these things that that person is seeing?
Which is so, that's a false narrative. That's a part of, being a writer is we
Yeah,
just cannot see our work as clearly.
yeah,
Um, that's part of
100%.
it.
But yeah, that's how I feel about it. So I find that interesting that Marta finds the other way around, that it's
hmm
scarier later
Yeah.
earlier in the process.
Yeah.
Um, Nina says, sharing work terrifies me. I have just shared an oldest short story with Anne, Kit, and Violet, but even that was scary. I used to have friends read as I write, but as I grew as a writer and the perfectionist in me woke up, it has become increasingly more difficult to share. My hope is to share my writing more this year with a few people to get over that fear. That's a
Mhm.
really valid point. And I feel like in general, you're absolutely right. The more you share, the less you're scared, I would say. At least that's how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely like the more you do it, the less scary it becomes for
Yeah.
sure.
You get used to it. And also, that's why I like this idea of, yes, there's going to be beta readers who might not be the same people every single time. Maybe they're going to be interested in one of your stories, maybe not in another. But when you have a critique partner, it's the people you have shared over and over again with. And so
Mhm.
they get to know you as a writer, and they might be able to see your progression as a writer even better than you might be able to see yourself. So that's the beautiful thing about it, is it becomes less difficult to share because you have people who have your back. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Dai says, I don't find sharing difficult, but finding the right people to share with is a whole other ball game. 100%. With the right people
Mhm.
that happily share a first draft, feedback will only make it better. But also, I don't want to waste people's time, so I generally don't do that. But yeah, finding people whose feedback you value and who will actually read the whip is a bit tougher. Yes.
Yeah,
I think,
so true. Because it is
yeah.
like such a labor to ask someone to read an early draft, which is like what I'm
Yeah.
fully going to ask Malin to do. But she's
But
like
I
the
keep
only
asking for it.
person that
It's,
I
it's,
feel like I can ask that of.
I've given full on consent. I've begged for it. So,
Oh
that's
my
all
God,
good.
shambles. It is in shambles.
And I probably won't find that it's in shambles, so don't worry. But yeah, I also think I agree that it's a trial and error, finding the right people with whom you've got a good connection and a good
Yeah.
rapport, where you might feel like, yeah, this is we say in French, donnant donnant. It's giving giving, as in like I give something, you give something, and like having that
Mhm.
relationship where you feel like you're both getting something out of it.
Yeah.
Can be hard to find, but when you do, it's great. Um, and I think nothing else was in response. I'm just scrolling back down to all the other comments. Yes, the last comment was here that I had read. So I think that's all in relation to this. And then after that, we got a little answer from Wallace about the activities for the mini solo retreat. I'll be doing a lot of
Oh,
research activities for About You, hot springs, dog sledding, etc. So I'll be filming, but it will probably be a long time before the video comes out. Damn it.
that sounds so fun.
Yes. Something funny is my publisher is allowed to request my materials at any time. So if my editor wants to see portions of my first draft disaster, I gotta send it to her. What?
I've never heard of this. I mean, it makes sense, but I just can't believe I've never heard of this.
No, me neither. I don't think I've ever heard people talk about that, but like that is so scary. I I'd be terrified of them suddenly. It feels like a when a teacher can ask suddenly of you, like, where are you at with your homework type of, like.
Yeah. Has anyone asked like George R. R. Martin, like, bro, we need proof of life here.
I mean, he's been doing other stuff, so they're probably just like, as long as you're giving us stuff we can make money with, you're fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh
I
my
love
God.
the idea of doing a camera call. Oh, never mind, my Melon is literally on it. um,
Yeah.
1,000 or 10,000, I'm not sure how many zeros there are there, agree with video calling. I used to meet weekly on Zoom with one of my OG critique partners, and honestly, it was the best for actually understanding the
Mm,
feedback tone of the critique. Yeah, weekly is like impressive. I feel
yeah.
like we're too inconsistent to do that. Like, that just would not work. But I like this idea.
Yeah.
I like the concept.
Yeah.
Marta says, but yes, that is something I really want to do next time. Actually, chat about the book with people out loud.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm going to tell people it's original with mistakes, and the plot is a mess, regardless of whether it's draft 1 or draft 5. Yeah, just say it's draft 1 when you're at draft 5, and you're and they're like, holy shit! Wow, this is so advanced.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my
It's the
gosh.
equivalent of when we would be out with Edgar, and he would act like an absolute idiot, and we'd be like, oh, he's just turned 1, he's still a puppy, and he's like 2, like he's meant to be an adult now.
That's
It's
so
just,
funny.
just lie, small white lie. Camille says, I hate sharing work. I have to revise it at least twice before anyone sees the chaos. Yes, I can understand that.
Hmm.
Uh, okay, but on the giving point, one other thing I find it a lot easier to share my draft with someone if I've read for that person first. It makes me feel less guilty over taking up their time. Yes, I do like that idea as well. The fact that you're going to at some point swap, or
Yeah.
even if it's not at the same time, that you're going to have that relationship anyway.
Hmm.
I think that's quite good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it builds that trust, because you also think, well, this person isn't going to talk to me in a way they wouldn't want to be talked to about the feedback. So you also have an assumption that someone's going to be, acknowledging your feelings over your own writing, because that can be really difficult to get over.
Yes. And a good beta reader. That in mind always, I think.
Yeah.
Or CP.
It's in the contract because they have the right to make sure I'm actually working on it.
I mean, it
Oh,
so makes sense, and
it
publishing is
does.
a business, but this is terrifying.
Yes. Yeah. That's why I keep posting on Insta and TikTok my word counts because I want my editor to see I'm working, so she will need to request. Oh my god, I love that.
Yeah, I'm sure that's just a like fail-safe clause for someone who's being really delinquent and is not trustworthy.
Yeah, this makes me feel like how I feel at work when I'm doing a job for like another, like a design director or something, and then they'll be like, "Oh, yeah, can you like work on that?" And then I'm working through it, and I've only been on it maybe 2, 3 hours, and at some point they go like, "Hey, how's that going?" And I'm like, "It's not because I'm not talking to you after 3 hours that I'm not doing it. Like that's how it makes me feel."
Right.
And usually that's not
Yeah.
what they mean, but it's just how you resent it. Like it's just, why are you checking in on me? Like you'll get
Yeah.
it.
If you have a question, ask your question. But
Yeah,
other than that, like I'll let
exactly.
you
Or
know
if
when
you
it's
have a
done.
deadline, give me your deadline then. If you're like, this
Right.
needs, I need to see something soon, you're like, okay, just tell me. Don't go like, how's it going?
Hmm.
Um, I do think she wouldn't request unless I miss a deadline. There, yeah, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. We have a follow-up question from this, so I'm gonna pop it up as another banner. So the second question is, how would you define a writing friend versus a critique partner versus a beta reader? What do you expect from each relationship? Also, feel free to add any other terms like alpha reader or critique groups or whatever else you may have encountered or work with.
Hmm.
These are just sort of the main ones that
Yeah.
I thought of. Um, and I have been going through, like, I'll pop that up after because we're going to get into a sprint and then we're going to answer that question after. But before the stream, I did do my own homework for once, Anna. Like, surprisingly,
Ooh.
I'm not lazy. And I actually went through Googling critique partner versus beta reader to see what other
Oh.
people are saying. And I found a bunch of different blog posts, including from some actual, like, known authors, describing
Okay.
like what each is. So I've compiled some of these definitions just to see if they recouped or if it was like, no, everyone agrees. So yeah,
Okay. I'm interested. I'm
Mhm.
seated.
We can add that to the discussion in a very
Wow.
professional manner.
How unlazy.
Right? Crazy off brand. I won't do this again, guys. Promise.
We will never come this prepared ever again.
No, I swear. Let me share my screen again. We're going to start another focus. And should we change the landscape? What are we feeling?
Sure.
I can't do
Hmm.
the plus, unfortunately. I don't want to pay. So
Fair
winter
enough.
cabin?
Sure.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, I think winter cabin is a good one.
That
I'm
sounds
feeling it.
nice. The dunes are interesting because that's literally exactly the setting I'm writing in right now, but they're pluses, so just scroll
Yeah,
past.
yeah. I can give you minimalist dessert. I
Uh,
can't pronounce that word, but you know what I mean. I generally have, like, it's a genuine problem for non-English speakers to make the difference between a dessert and desert, and I've always mixed those up.
that's
Always.
so okay. I know exactly what you mean.
I think, yeah, I'll stick to the, what was that? The cabin.
Um,
Winter
yeah,
cabin?
beautiful.
I think it's giving me the right vibes because of, well, it's mentioning she's gonna go to a cabin to
Oh
actually,
yeah, let's pretend we're going on a retreat.
yes, we're going on a 30 minutes retreat, guys.
Sounds
Um,
good.
if everyone is ready, let's go. Here we go. How did that 30 minutes go for you?
Good. I am up to 1,200 words for the day.
Amazing.
It's
That's
so
really
amazing
good.
when you take time to plan out what's going to happen in the scenes. It's like it's easy
Yeah,
to write.
it's crazy, isn't it?
hmm
Um, I feel like I'm probably cheating a bit because this scene, sorry, was a lot more ready to go than some of the other ones. So I didn't rewrite as much. So I
Right.
tried to reduce it by quite a few hundred words when I was typing in my word count. But I'm at 1,400 for the day. So I think I
Woo!
technically wrote 800 or so new words, I guess. But I'm not sure if that's correct. Again, I'm
Awesome.
averaging it every time. So, but I finished the
Amazing.
chapter. So that was the main thing. I don't care so much about the word count. I'm just happy I finished the chapter because that means now I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left before the end of the book.
Oh my gosh. So you could definitely do this by January, by the end of January.
Oh yeah, that's the plan for sure. I want to be finished with this by the end of January. I might not be able to have done another round of revisions on the first 3 chapters with my latest beta readers feedback by the end of January, but
hmm
that's definitely the plan after I'm done with this because I didn't want to stop myself in the middle of it because I'm so close to the end. So I want to first
Yeah.
finish this revision round and then go back to the first 3 chapters, correct some bits using Marta and Steve's feedback, and then
Fun.
I'll be ready to reshare it, probably like a quick, new read. And then that's probably when I'll be like, hey, remember me?
Yeah. I can't wait to get that file on my Kindle. I'm telling you right now.
Oh my God. Good. Every single time you say it, it makes me feel better about sending it to you guys again.
Oh my
Uh,
God. It's so fun to see how you've evolved it, even in just the first 3 chapters. And that makes me really excited to see the same effect on the rest because it's
yeah.
just layered and layered and layered in its depth. And oh, it's easy and good.
I I think it's changed the most in this draft, I feel like now.
hmm
Because obviously I have in my mind that I want to write a book too. So that's also been taken into consideration a lot more in this draft than in the previous
Mm.
version. So yes, we've got some new people that came in, and let me try and skip through the answers just to get to the newcomers comments. Hi MTM, how are you? We're good. How are you doing? Hi Sasha, good time zones to you too. How are you? And we've got a wild Laura. Hello, hello. How are you doing? Keiko almost finished with the show, 6 episodes, now on the last one. Oh my god, you're binge watching this.
Ooh.
Wallace says, got up mid-tea, updated my journal, and worked on my video for Tuesday. Ooh, exciting. You're
I'm
also
loving
being,
this new era.
yeah, super consistent with video uploading and everything. I'm very impressed. Um,
Yeah.
I'm also more consistent, but I'm also highly aware that it's January and it's not going to last. So I'm just giving you my best self for 1 month and then
Yeah,
back to the regular schedule.
that's right.
Marta says, well, I got exactly 3 minutes into my reread before the grocery delivery person rang my doorbell and I got very sidetracked. That is fair. Ooh, what are you getting? Is it grocery delivery? In my head, I read just delivery and I was thinking you got takeaway. So now I'm
Ooh,
disappointed because it's not takeaway, it's just regular grocery
yeah.
deliveries. So fair enough.
Adulting.
Yeah, Kemi finished up some work stuff and got 137 words in a new chapter. Nice, good job. You working on a Sunday? Are you doing okay? Do you need to talk,
Yeah.
or do you want to not talk about it and just be distracted? Talk about writing only.
Blink
Uh,
twice if you need help.
yeah, exactly. Nina says, chatted with some friends to gush about this project and worked on the blurb. Oh,
Fun.
exciting. Are you specifically talking about the Dark Academia one? Is that the one that you worked on the blurb for? Marta says, I have a ton of videos to catch up on while I was on holidays. I'm so excited to watch all of them. Yay! Just my regular weekly shop, but needed a bunch of things because I haven't been in the flat for a while. Yeah, that is fair. Yeah, you've
Mhm.
just come back recently, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yes, says, I watched Nosferatu in theater yesterday. What did you think? Because you love horror. It is like your thing. So how did you feel about it? How would you rate it? And then Kevin says, I was sick most of this week, so I'm just catching up on work. Well, yeah, but that's a Monday thing to do, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no one would begrudge you for doing it. I mean, I don't know, actually. You might be in a toxic environment. I have no idea. But they should not begrudge you for doing it on a Monday.
Yeah.
Nina says, yes, the Dog Academia one. I had so many subplot ideas and so many fun things to add to its fun
Wow.
story. And I think you've got your winner, Nina. I'm just saying, you might work on the other ones, but
if you're starting to get subplots,
yeah,
that's a good
you've gone
indicator.
too far in. You're in there. Should we talk about our second question? Let me just find, what was the first answer? I'm scrolling back up. I think the last bits we had before people started answering was this from Wallace.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, should I be very diligent and hide my scrivener and just pull up my little definitions that I've gotten from the internet?
I'm excited.
Here, I'm, by the way, avert your eyes. I apologize in advance. I've been going back to the light side, and I'm now on Notion light mode instead of dark mode.
Oh, yeah.
No one judge me. It's just been what the aesthetic Notion girlies do a lot, and I kind of enjoy looking at some of my stuff in light mode because the colors look so different. So yeah.
I use Notion in the light side, but my writing, dark mode.
Yeah, there you go. Cool. So I pulled up some of the definitions from the internet, just from like the first page of results I got on Google, which, you know, might be wrong, might be correct. I don't know. I just thought it would be interesting to compare them to each other and see what they say. So the first answer I got was actually from this forum, Writers Helping Writers, or this blog, I guess, post, which was written by Meg Latour, which I know used to be a YouTuber, but I don't think she YouTubes anymore. Where the answer was simply, critique partners are writers who provide feedback on your work, usually by request to exchange chapters of full manuscripts. Beta readers are people who read your manuscript as a reader first, rather than a writer. Most of the time, beta readers are not writers. I thought that was interesting because I didn't consider beta readers to be non-writers in my head. I was thinking more beta readers can be non-writers, but most of the time you often ask writer friends. This was a bit more of a longer blog post on this campfirewriting.com website, which I think is like a writing. You've used it? No? Someone's used it.
Yeah, it's a platform.
Yes. So on that platform, what they were saying is beta readers are few trusted readers who can give you an idea of whether or not the story has potential. You want people who would typically read in that genre because that's who your target audience is, and you want to be able to gauge their reaction to your story. Good beta readers should give you some generalized feedback and point out what's really working, what isn't, etc. While critique partners are other writers who are in the same stage you're at. You swap pages and give constructive feedback and offer specific suggestions on how to make improvements, more focused on developmental feedback from other writers. I can't read anymore. And not so much to the readers. They'll typically give kudos to things they love, maybe make a few edits here and there, along with some detailed suggestions or ideas for the areas that need work. Somewhere else, there's another definition that talked about this detail definition as the opposition between critique partners and beta readers, where people are often saying beta readers are like, what are the vibes? Did you like it? Does it work? And you might ask some directional questions, while with critique partners, they're more going to focus on the detail of things. So that's one way to see it. This was just very quick. I love this because it was a one-sentence answer. Whereas beta readers are readers, critique partners are other writers. That's the biggest difference. It was like, okay, so that's not the only person who said that. That first answer was also similar to this. Then on, I think this is Michelle Winklers, who's a writer. Critique partners are fellow writers who will read your manuscript and give you feedback on things like pace, character arcs, plot holes, and even possibly grammar. Beta readers are people who fit your target audience, not usually writers, although they can be, and give feedback on things like how enjoyable a read it is, if the ending is predictable, if there were any parts that were confusing, etc. So this is the third one that considers beta readers not to be writers, which again I thought was interesting because I think both are writers. But from Susan Denard, who's I think a famous writer, she mentions the people she exchanges manuscripts with, and it's Sarah J. Maas and Erin Bowman, who I also have a book by. So I was like, okay,
Wow.
yeah,
What a trio.
and she was like, an alpha reader is someone who reads your first drafts, perhaps as you're drafting, and apparently her and Sarah J. Maas do that with one another. A beta reader is someone who reads your whole manuscript once it's finished and revised. He or she looks at the story as a whole. And a critique partner is someone with whom you exchange chapters, scenes, entire manuscripts, etc. You critique his or her work, be it a first draft or revised, and she returns the favor by critiquing your work. That's the most just simple, straight to the point answer. This one, Rachel J. Rollins was saying beta readers read an unpublished manuscript and give feedback on what they enjoy and didn't. It's similar to beta testing a video game. And I like that this is actually, I think, what it's from. It's from beta tester.
Correct,
or piece of software. They could be another writer, an avid reader of the genre, or someone who's with specialist knowledge. And a CP is another writer you swap work with in order to give each other feedback. And then finally, on Writing Mastery, which is another one of those, I'm not sure it's a platform, but I see them a lot online. And I feel like they do YouTube videos as well, content. And they were saying a beta reader is someone who reads your completed manuscript before publication, improves and provides insights and suggestions from the perspective of your novel's target audience. I see that a lot. Like a lot of these definitions were saying a beta reader is someone who reads in your genre, basically, and can tell you if this fits in the genre, if it's enjoyable, etc. While a critique partner, where was it? Usually give more detailed feedback on smaller pieces of work in progress, usually help the authors at various stages of the novel writing process, acting as a sounding board for everything from the tiny details to the overall story arc, which we sort of both agree with that in general. Yeah. That was the internet's answer.
Interesting. Yeah.
There's probably more. It's just first page of Google. I did not go further than that. I was like,
I mean, that was great. That was great. Yeah, I think it's interesting that so many of them qualified it beta readers not necessarily being writers. And I think it would be really cool to move your career to a place where you can solicit readers like that from your target audience. That would be so effective to get that feedback, not only from people who read your genre, but from the people who read your book. That's so cool. However, being that we're not at that phase yet, I think it makes sense that we're relying on writers because those are our friends right now.
Yes, but I think a lot more people than we think probably share their work with their general friends who are not specifically writers.
True.
And I do have quite a lot of readers friends, not just writer friends. And from my reader friends, I have also 2 or 3 people that I'm considering setting my first 3 chapters to because I know they read in the genre. And so I guess that fits in that definition of beta reader. That makes perfect sense. It's, but interestingly, a lot of these also mentioned the order in which you share your work. And we're saying first you share your work with beta readers. And then once you've done all the different rounds, you share it with your critique partners and you go in the details. And I was like, I would do the other way around, but maybe that's just me.
I mean, I definitely align more with the ones that were the CP is involved at any phase, various phases, and they're there with you kind of through every step of the way. And they're the sounding board who's going to get all of your word vomit and the going in this direction. What are the pros and cons of that?
I think it's also possibly a critique partner often becomes your alpha reader if you do that. Because you trust your critique partners enough to be the alpha reader as well. But some of these definitions we're separating the two, and we're saying like, here's what an alpha reader does, here's what a critique partner does, etc.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, like probably one of the more distinctive traits is that the CP, has some expectation of exchange
Yes.
in it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Well, a beta reader can be someone you might find in your community and volunteers for it or something, or yeah, like someone who reads your books but is like a fan of your work rather than
Hmm.
someone you have more of a relationship with. Like a beta reader can be pretty much anyone that you think is a reader of the genre. So
Right.
yeah. Should we see what our friends are saying about
Yeah.
this question? So Marta was saying writing friends, someone I'm friends with, and we chat about writing and process, but we don't read unpublished work for each other, potentially because we read in different genres. Yes, I
Hmm.
feel like
Yeah.
we've got a lot of that in the community.
Yeah. I also have a
Just
couple of friends in writers, and we talk about writing, and we kind of like share our woes and our excitements together, but we do not share work. And I think it's
yes,
interesting, like when you have those people in your life for so long, and it's kind of like, who's going to be the first one to be like, hey, do you want to read something? And who's going to like break the seal? You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. And sometimes it's just a question of timing because it can take so long to get a draft finished that you might be
Yeah.
like, I'm curating these relationships and making sure they're still staying there until I'm ready to share something and be like, hey.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, Marta says on the critique partner, basically my boyfriend, someone who can read my draft at any point, but also out of order at times and just have random in depth discussions with. Yes. And I love that it's, yeah, the any point
Mhm.
part, I really agree with. It's basically someone you can be like, hey, so I haven't sent you the draft yet, but here's what happened so far. Can you help me figure this part out?
Yeah.
Um, and I kind of feel like you've now made Luke one of your critique partners as well by um,
Yeah.
having that.
Against his will.
You don't have a choice
I
in the
think
matter.
I think it's really helpful for me because Luke, brain, he is a storyteller. Like he loves theater and video games and D&D.
Yeah,
And so he he's a great person to bounce ideas off of. And I think his brain works just enough out of the box that he
yeah,
can make suggestions to me that I'm like, oh shit. He
yeah.
with a really great twist last night and was like,
Because
oh, I love you.
I keep seeing these comments saying like, "Yeah, I'm sharing with my partner, boyfriend, husband, whatever." It makes me feel
Mhm.
like a terrible wife who does not share her writing at all. But like, also, my husband just doesn't read in general. He's not a reader, but he does love storytelling because also D&D. So
Mhm.
yeah, don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I mean, we that's just something that's always been like a cornerstone for us is like going
Yeah,
to see shows and then out talking about the story and what we would have
yeah,
changed about it. Like we've always kind of had fun like script doctoring together. And so
yeah.
that kind of applies as well when I'm bringing a project to the table. I'm like, okay, help me script doctor this. And
I like that.
that's fun.
That is really good. And beta readers, someone who reads a finished draft, regardless of whether it's draft one or draft five, but it has a number assigned to it in order, all in one go.
Mhm.
Funnily enough, I don't think my boyfriend has ever beta read for me by that definition, but he has read most chapters in my book multiple times in various states and knows the book inside out.
So
Yeah,
cute.
Nina says, if I'm being honest, I don't think I ever truly had a CP or beta reader, so it is hard to define these two. But to me, a writer friend is someone who I can chat to about my stories and their stories, etc., without the expectation that we have to read slash give feedback as we speak. Just a buddy who I can chat to. Doesn't mean they
Mhm.
won't turn into a CP or beta reader ever. Yes, 100%. And I also agree with the distinction Marta was saying about you can talk about these stories, but without thinking this person will ever read them because you might not
Yeah.
read in the genre. It might be something you're like, I'm excited for you, but that's just not a genre I read, so I wouldn't be,
Yeah.
benefiting you by reading it.
That might be unhelpful.
Yes. Camilla says, I've never had an official beta reader or CP, but my writing friends reading my work is way more casual and less critiquey than what I'd imagine beta reader feedback would be like. just because it's mostly so my friends can just check in on my work and help keep me accountable. The intention isn't for edits to be made yet. But if it's casual, but they're still telling you, I like this, I'm enjoying the vibe, or, oh, by the way, I'm not quite sure about this part, that suddenly makes them a bit more into beta readers, I guess. Just from them giving you any sort of feedback. But if it's just very much for you to be like, here's the next chapter, so I have to, and there's
Yeah.
like no feedback exchange whatsoever, then yeah, I guess that's more like writing friends.
I think it's
Um,
nice to leave room for that, particularly in the draft one phase. And like,
yeah,
if you can have people where you can like clearly communicate, like, hey, I just need cheerleading right now. And they will
yeah.
do that. That's awesome. And there's space for that too.
You do sometimes just need the cheerleading. It
Hmm.
happens.
You do, you do.
Um, oh, thank you for um, accepting that this is really bright and light. Notion light is where it's at. Was there any more answers? Yes, I think I see. Um, Let me just scroll down. Sasha answered here. There we go. CP to me is a writer who gives feedback and you work with often enough to brainstorm. A beta to me is anyone who reads and gives their opinion, but not necessarily helps you brainstorm. Yes, I like that
Mhm.
definition. I think that makes a lot of sense. And it's sort of, but also, I wonder sometimes if you don't make a beta reader into a critique partner, if you end up being like, hey, can we brainstorm this now that you've read it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see how a better reader can be a bit more detached and a little bit more like, here's my comments and goodbye.
Mhm. I think it just comes back to like if you're going to a person who also writes or not.
Yeah,
I think just naturally you're going to get more kind of solution oriented comments
yeah,
from a writer where more than a reader. A reader may just be like, hey, something was kind of funny here. And a writer may be like, something was kind of funny here. Maybe it's this, maybe it's this. Like, I don't,
yeah,
regardless of who I'm giving feedback to, I don't really attune it to a level. Like, I'm always going to give the same kind of feedback because I just cannot
yeah,
separate my writer brain out of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And I'm just skipping some of the comments. Sorry, guys, just so I can continue on to Sasha's answer. Writing Friends is a fellow writer who likes talking about writing all the time and doesn't block me for it.
Yeah.
Which I agree with Marta. I love the implication that you've been blocked before. What happened? Not yet, but it's
Yeah.
inevitable.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Let me go back up because I've skipped quite a few comments in between, and I didn't want to skip anyone. Okay, so just in answer to Nosferatu, Laura said, I love the cinematography, sets, and costumes. They still utilize shadows like the 1922 one, which made me
Ooh.
happy and kept the monster in shadows for so long. It was awesome. Great casting. Nice. That's exciting.
Um,
Um, and in response to us saying, your colleagues should let you catch up on things on Monday. No, it's fine. I'm definitely doing everything else tomorrow, though. Today's for writing. Okay, good. Um, that is so cool, like a secret famous writer club. Um, Malin really did her homework today. Yes, I
yeah.
did. Yes, I did. Oh, and just back to the Nosferatu thing, they also did tons of rats thing, like the 1970. Yeah, I've seen a lot of interviews with Willem Dafoe mentioning the rats and being like, they're my friends.
Wow.
But I think the difference is uh, in the old versions, there were a lot of casualties of the rats. And nowadays,
Oh,
that doesn't fly anymore. So
CGI
thankfully,
rats.
I don't know if it was CGI. I think they were real rats because Willem Dafoe mentioned hundreds of rats, but
Oh
I
my
think they were a
gosh.
lot more careful, or a bit more caring of not killing rats. I don't know.
Probably.
Um, Marta also said, "I only really have one non-writer friend who reads, but she doesn't read in English." Oh my god, that's so
Mm,
frustrating.
that's
If
another
you
layer.
if your partner is not willing to also be your critique partner, you need a new partner.
Hot. Duh.
That's a hot take, Marta, but also it's the other way around. I'm not letting him read anything. It's not that he doesn't want to.
Mhm.
He keeps jokingly saying, I'll read your stuff when it comes out and I can buy it." So million years from now. Jokingly, partners are allowed free will, of course. Yes, sure they are.
Sure.
And I think I've caught up, and the last few comments were here. There we go. But also on that writer friend point, I meant read unpublished work. I would still read writer friends' published books, even if it's not my genre. I just don't feel like I could help critique it. I wouldn't, because if I read in a genre I don't like, then it puts me in a reading slump. Simple as that.
Mm.
But I would buy their book and I would put it on my shelves, just be like, I'm proud of you, but it's not something I want to read. So, like, I'm not gonna pretend. I'd rather not
Yeah.
lie and be like, yes, I'll read it and I'll enjoy it, even though like everyone knows I'm not gonna enjoy it. It's not a genre. Like, I don't know. Does that make me a bad friend? Probably a little bit.
It really depends on if they're how far apart it is from my genres of
Yeah,
taste. If it's like way out in left field, then
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just, or I think I've gone so far down that road of I'm not going to read anything I don't like, because I hate having to DNF things.
Mhm.
And I dislike so much the waste that I've gone through buying books that I ended up not liking and trying to force myself to read through them and then be like, well, I'm just not reading at all anymore for like months because I've been stuck
Yeah.
on that one book I'm not picking up. That even for a friend, I probably wouldn't do that. I would probably buy it, be like, I'll support it. And if anyone like is interested in that genre, I would be the best street team
That's
person you could
right.
ask for. And be like, oh my god, my friend wrote this book, and you would totally be into that. But I'm not gonna force myself to read it. Yeah,
Fair
I don't know.
enough. Fair enough.
Um, okay, because geez, that show was intense and brutal. Don't watch it if you want happy endings. Oh my god. Okay, fair.
Noted.
Um, And Sasha says, I was texting my beta reader last night and she was really liking the draft. Exciting. But I had to tell her, don't be nice. Let me have it. It's a weird thing to ask people to be brutal. No, but this is the part where I think it's crucial to get people you trust, because you can't get negative feedback from someone you don't trust. Otherwise, you won't take it well. At least I can't. And I need to be able to say to people like, hey, don't spare my feelings. Like, tell me what the like. I'm asking for feedback, so I want the
Mhm.
feedback. But put it in a nice sandwich. Give me a little critique sandwich. Give me something you
Yeah.
like and the problem, and then something you like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Especially in with someone who's reading for you the first time, they
Mm,
might feel like they need to kind of like pull back a little bit. And so that can
yeah,
be something to navigate too.
yeah. And I also think it can be difficult to find. Like, you might find people who will tell you what they don't like. That's not the same as a good critique, right? I think that's the
Mhm.
part where you also need a big like sifting through to find the right critique partners and beta readers, because you might end up choosing as a beta reader someone who doesn't read in that genre or doesn't really like a sub genre thing that's happening in your book or whatever, and might be like, this isn't for me. But that's not the
Yeah,
same as saying this is bad. So yeah.
right. Yeah.
Well, it says I crave brutality. I don't. Tell me things in a nice way, but do tell me the things, you know?
Hmm. Yeah.
I Although that's not entirely true. It's more like I don't mind the brutality if it's from someone I can speak with and like have had chats. Like we were saying
Hmm.
earlier about having Zoom calls or whatever, just being able to chat to them so I know what they mean. And then suddenly it doesn't feel as brutal. It's like, no, you're really
Yeah.
trying to help me make this the best book possible.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not just a slap in the face for no reason.
Right. Yeah. It's a nice signal of like, um, I'm still in this with you. Like I don't want to, I'm not just like dropping this bomb and then just like
Yeah.
waltzing away, like um this doesn't mean anything about the CP
Yes,
relationship or anything.
I'm with Sasha and Camille. So Sasha says, me too, I want to hear it from betas so I can fix stuff. I would rather hear it from them than an agent. And Camille, I need nice honesty. Yes, exactly. Same. But I think it's also because I'm very highly aware of trying not to be mean or rude in any way. And I think it's so easy to do, to just
Mhm.
like, you can like say to someone, this needs improving, does not need to be said in a mean way. Like it never, there's no reason ever to be mean to someone. So it bothers me if there are comments that just feel like that. And I thankfully have not really been a victim of that. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying that like it's happened to me, but I've heard other people's sometimes feeling like really defeated after getting feedback from beta readers. And
Mhm.
really feel for them because I'm like, why would anyone feel the need to just say things in a horrible manner? You can be brutally honest without being horrible. That's all I think. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in this world, like um, honesty and brutal honesty are
Mm,
equal. You do not
yeah,
need to bring in to be honest,
yes.
and
And
that still serves the writer.
one of the blog posts I was reading through, as I was doing my little research for the difference between critique partners and beta readers, one of them was actually said, if you, because there was a lot of them are talking about how to find beta readers and how to find good ones and everything, and one of them was saying, if you've got a beta reader that only has negative comments for you, they're not a good beta reader. They're not your reader. They're not for you. And like I 100% agree with that. If the only things you get are negative comments, first of all, that's not good and useful because it is useful to know what works. You need to know what works so you can keep it and you
Mhm.
can
Yeah.
work more towards that. So it's not useful to only have the negative stuff. But yeah, that's just
Yeah.
I
Hopefully
think
you'll find someone that can see what you're trying to accomplish and is like down for that vision.
yes. And it's like, let me help you get there,
Hmm.
That's how it works. Laura's streaming at the top of the hour. Oh my god.
Oh,
In like 45 minutes. Is that correct?
hopefully. I hope we're not overlapping.
Yes, I'm so sorry if we are. Um, Also, I didn't realize the 2023 and 2024 Nosferatu movies were different movies. I didn't know there was another one last like a year ago. I
Me
thought they just
neither.
gorgeous. Oh my god. Yeah, you need an overall impression. Yeah, I feel like getting critiques from other writers is easier too because they know what it's like to put your work out there exactly. So they're
Oh,
honest, but
yeah.
also sweet about it. Yes.
Right.
Like that's the trick about you want to find someone who's going to think, how would I want that feedback? And like I would want it, but how?
Yeah.
Because they know the anxiety that comes with it. Yeah, it's really hard to put your work out there. We did have one last question based on this. Oops, there we go. But we are already 2 hours and 15 minutes in. So how do we feel? Should we go into just straight into this question, not do another sprint, or should I do a tiny 10-minute sprint, or like
Um,
what's the vibe? Are we
let's
finishing
do like
soon?
a let's do a short like 10-15,
Okay,
and
maybe
then we
10
can
minutes,
do a
like wrap.
quick.
Yeah, let's do a wrap it up sprint.
Yeah.
So here's our third question. How has being in a writing community impacted your willingness to share your writing, including with friends, family, outside of said community? We've already talked a little bit about this, so it'll probably be a short round. And I'll just share again and do like a much shorter focus sprint. And let's just go to my focus. No, where is it? Focus timer? Yes. And I'll just do 10 minutes. Yes. Focus. All right. And just to confirm, Laura says in 40-ish minutes, I'm going live. Okay, perfect. Nice. If we're all ready, 3, 2, 1, go. There we go. That was the last sprint. Just quick 10 minutes to wrap anything up that you got going on. How did that go for you? Did you do any more work or were you just chilling?
No, I pretty much just reread what I've done, the mess I've made, and just kind of tinkered around with it. But I'm excited. I feel like after a midday break, I definitely still have a lot of um and willingness to come back to this later this evening and get more. So yeah, I'm excited.
Nice. That is good. Yeah, I started just the next chapter because actually I prefer being in the middle of something than at the
Mm,
end of a chapter because otherwise I find it hard to get back into it. If I'm like, oh, now I have to start at the beginning of this. But if I've already started it, I find it easier to get back into. So,
totally.
yeah. So moving forward and having
Awesome.
some progress on everything. I
Good.
think we lost the Marta. I think. Let me check.
Bye, Marta.
Yes, Marta said, I'm going to run off for dinner, but it was absolutely lovely to spend time with the two of you as always, and with everyone in the chat too. Oh, thank you for coming, Marta. Sorry I missed saying goodbye to you, but Sasha was on it. And we've also got a conclusion from Keiko after thinking about the show. Review on the show, they did some BS in the last 20 minutes that they shouldn't have.
Oh no.
I got found family feelings from the protagonist group, but not that what they put in there. Also, there's a character who does basically nothing and serves as plot armor in situations. Okay, that's not great. To be fair, I'd rather you tell me now so I don't have to try the show. But I'm not that
Yeah.
much into cowboy settings unless there's something supernatural going on, which is why I'll be interested in Steeg's book, but I'm not that much into just they're just cowboys. Nothing else is
Yeah.
going on. And then, well, I said she picked out some trop house music from Epidemic Sound and put it into my vlog for
Ooh.
Tuesday. Nice. And also mops. Oh my god, very productive.
Wow.
Did a lot in
It takes
this
so
last
much mental energy to convince myself to mop that like I
really.
feel like I just hate it.
I find it so easy. It's just because I've got one of those flash ones. You just press the button and it like sprays on the floor and
Oh,
then you wipe it. So
yeah. I have like a whole like mop situation. I got the
get
spinny mop that all the TikTok girlies were on,
yeah.
and it is fun to use, but just like the actual mop bucket in my bathtub,
Yeah.
I don't
See,
know.
this thing you just plop the product in and then it stays good for like a while, so you really don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You just take it from the cupboard and then start it on and that's it. So
I
that makes
also
it dead easy for me.
we have linoleum floors, which our
Mm.
landlord covered in about 4 layers of paint.
Oh my god.
So I cannot Swiffer my floors because it's painted. So it's like it doesn't slide.
Oh my god.
So I cannot push a Swiffer. It gets all tangled up. So I literally have to mop the old-fashioned way, and it looks like
I'm
absolute
so
shit.
sorry for your loss. Of
There's
like
so many things in my house that are painted that should not be painted.
landlord specials
Oh,
going
so bad.
around.
So bad.
Um, Sasha tickled the dogs most of that sprint. That is fair. That is fair. That's a very good use of that last sprint. And Camille says, I got 151 words in chapter 25. Nice. Good job. You're being very productive. And Keiko says, thank you for the stream and sprints. Running off to dinner as well. Enjoy dinner.
Bye.
Bye. And one else says, I live in a studio apartment, so it's not a whole ordeal. Yeah, that
That's
makes sense.
true.
Yes. Oh, and got more love for the dogs during the sprint. I snuggled
Good.
Roy. I just opened the door to my husband's room and said, "Are you gonna feed him?" Because he's like currently playing co-op games, and I was like, "This stream has been in the calendar for a month,
Hmm.
so this is my time. You go feed him." And he was out yesterday, so I was feeding him. So it's not like it's dunno.
That's right.
So should we finish on this last question? How
Yeah.
the writing community has impacted our willingness to share our work.
Oh my God.
Um, any
Yeah.
thoughts?
It had been a complete like night and day. transformation for me. Like before I started my YouTube channel, I would rather die than tell someone in real life that I was a writer. And
Oh my God,
Luke,
same.
if Luke told friends or a new person that I was meeting and they're like, "Oh, you're a writer," I would rather like incinerate on the spot
Yeah.
than talk about it. And having my channel and getting used to talking about my writing and actually finding a way to talk about my writing has helped so much. I was at an event week where it was like a writing open mic night and people would get up and like perform personal essays. And
Oh my
so
God, I thought those only
um,
existed in movies. I didn't even
yeah,
think
it
they
was
were
kind of
real.
like kind of like the Moth podcast. I went with a friend who knew a lot of other people there, and she brought me in and introduced me to someone and like, "Oh, do you write?" And I was like, "Yeah, I write fantasy." And like past me could never do that. She would rather
Yeah.
die. And but I found that like being open about that and being the first one to admit
Yes.
brings it out of others. And I've met
Yeah.
so many writers in my circle that known that they also wrote unless I was honest about it.
Yeah, being the first one to say it, I think is really brave, but it opens the floor for like
Hmm.
trust and to be like,
Yeah.
I'm giving you something that is deeply personal and hard to say, so you can do the same if
Yeah.
you want
It
to.
still feels very
Yeah.
yes, I'm just a lot more. I mean, it's on the internet, so like what what am I supposed to do? Be like, no, I don't write.
Well, yes, but both you and I use pseudonyms. Like we
Yeah,
have
but it
pen
just means
names.
like if I'm willing to like put myself out there
Yeah.
in such a public, suddenly it like doesn't really matter anymore,
Yeah.
you know?
Although there's still some groups of people with whom I would not share.
Oh,
That
totally.
I do
Of
that on the
course.
side.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes me think of one when I went to my new job's Christmas party. By the end of the night, like when everyone was dead drunk and we were the last one standing, who had diverged into several groups of people who went to different bars because we couldn't find bars that were still open. You know, like the end of the
The crazy.
you're in a cocktail bar because they're the only ones that open until 1 a.m. And there's this girl that I have been more and more friends with from work. She's in another department and we haven't really worked together, but she's based in London, so she's one of the few in the London goers.
Mm.
And there's a little group of people who text each other being like, who's going to an office? Yeah, I want to go to an office on Wednesday, blah, blah. And like in order to meet up socially.
Oh,
And at some
nice.
point, I don't know what brought this up. Very nice. See you later.
Oh.
He's so dirty. Oh my God. I just saw a bunch of mud on the floor. Um, so she basically was telling me some more like personal stuff. And then we were
Mm.
talking about like things we don't want other people from work to know. And then I told her,
Oh.
like, I actually write. Oh my God. I'm just going to close my door properly. You're going to see it? You staying in or you out? Out. Come on. Very nice. He's like a cat. He just wants the doors to be open at all times.
He
Um,
wants the freedom, the
yeah,
option.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, she basically was like, "Oh, I write poetry." So, and I would never
Oh,
have heard this. Like, I would never have known this from her had I not
right.
also said, "I like to write." Like, for me, it's not poetry, but and I was like, "Do you share it with anyone?" She was like, "No, I never ever share it with anyone. It's just like a pastime thing that I really enjoy."
Yeah.
And it was just a lovely moment of like kinship of just being able to say we both do something creative on the side that has nothing to do with our work. So
Yeah, totally. I had a very similar thing too, where we had been working together for like 3 years.
yeah,
And then in 2020, I just was talking about the fact that I was an ML for NaNoWriMo and I was
yeah.
doing a lot of like volunteer work on the side, organizing like virtual events and stuff. And she was like, "Oh, I'm a writer. Like, what's this?" And I was like, "We've been working together for and this never came up because I just kept my mouth shut."
Yeah, that's the thing. I think this vulnerability is like opening the door to say to someone
Yeah.
else, you can also
Mhm.
be with me vulnerable if you want to.
Exactly.
But same as you, I don't think I would be willing to say anything of the sort if I hadn't been in the community for a while and been doing YouTube videos talking about the writing for a while. And for me, it was dipping my toes in it when I was just talking about reading, because I was like, I just want to talk about reading books,
Yeah.
like first and foremost. And then it slowly evolved into, I guess I could talk about writing books as well. It's sort of adjacent, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it feels very brave to talk about your writing with closer friends than it is to talk about your writing with strangers.
Yeah, exactly.
And I also find that people are just not as chronically online as I am. So it's true. A lot of people just have no idea about anything concerning J.K. Rowling. They've never heard of any of that debacle. Like, I swear to
Oh my
God,
God.
most people in my life, if I asked them about it, would not know that that has happened, because they're
Yeah.
not very online. And it's mostly a discourse that people have had online, like on Twitter, on Instagram, on like these social media platforms. So just talking about some of the stuff I enjoy reading and writing feels a bit strange, because I'm like, you probably just read nonfiction about like politicians or something. You know, like some people you're just like, I don't know if you read anything remotely close to what I write.
Yeah, yeah. And that's almost preferable because then they're not going to ask me about it and that's fine and we can just move on.
I often, which is why I started that, little catchphrase I've got where I'm always like, oh, I like murder and magic, because it simplifies it a lot rather than to explain, well, I really enjoy urban fantasy and like this subgenre of fantasy and all of these. I don't
Yeah.
think I don't think most people that are outside of my online friends know what dark academia is, unless they're talking about the
Very,
fashion. They might know what the fashion is, and that's it.
yeah. Yeah, very
Yeah.
booktube, book internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall I check what friends in the chat are saying, and then we'll end the stream because it's been going on for a while.
I need to go get
uh,
some lunch.
yes, I need to. Well, it's not dinner time yet, but I'll think about dinner soon. Laura says, being in the online writing community gives me so many more opportunities to share, from snippets in chat to beta readers and critique partners. Super helpful. Helps me know I'm improving. 100%. I would not have improved the way I have if it wasn't for the community.
Same.
Like, for sure. Sasha concurs. Being part of a community has helped a ton. There is no way I would have shared if I didn't see others being brave and sharing. Yes, also seeing others do it, like setting the example. Also realizing it can help my writing in the long run. So thanks, guys. Oh, that's so cute. I really agree with that. And then we got an answer from Nina. I never had a bunch of writer friends before I joined the community, but now I have met so many incredible writers, some even in real life, and it has been so inspiring to me to continue writing. Yes, I love this positivity from all those answers. Camille says, I think being in a community with other writers is so wonderful. It's great because everyone understands what it's like and have a different level of understanding than people who haven't written. So I feel like it sort of creates a safe community to share in that definitely helps lower my anxiety when it comes to letting people read my work. Yes, 100%. It feels like a safe space to share. Note, I think being around other writers has also built my confidence in my work, so I've definitely benefited from it. Yes, agreed with that as well. It really you see, first of all, like you said, the setting of the example of other people sharing their work, and you're like, I could do that. But also just having some minimal feedback on things like we often share like one line of the day type of thing or whatever, or talk a little bit about our plot ideas or share a mood board for an idea, and people get excited about it and it builds up your confidence in that concept and that idea. So
Yeah.
that in
Yeah.
itself
The
also really helps.
cheerleading is really important.
Yes. Sasha says that Twilight meme with Edward and Bella in the forest, and he's telling her say it. And she says, writer comes to
That's what
life.
it would feel like. That's what it would feel like when Luke would be like, tell them about your hobbies. And I'm like, shut up.
Oh my god. Oh yeah. Yes, that is so real. And then Will says, thanks for the stream. Once you'll end, I'm heading to my third space to try and get 4K for the day. Nice.
Ooh.
What is your third space? Is that like a writing place? Because third space is the name of a gym in the UK, in London. A really fancy, nice one. Like, it's really fancy. I've always dreamt of having a membership there, but also I wouldn't use it, so it would be useless. But it's
But I would
called
like
Third
the
Space.
option.
Yes, I would like the
Yeah.
option to go. I would like to have money that I don't care about throwing to the wind, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, Kakehime, hi. I'm so sorry. We're literally finishing the stream. We've been going for 2 hours 45. Oh, not home, not work, but the third space. Okay, I
Mhm.
see. That's fair. Okay. Not a gym. It's my general phrase for a coffee shop. Okay, cool. It's just because when people say it, I think now of the branded third space gym. Because I've been seeing a lot of it. You got this well as you crushed yesterday. Yes, you definitely can get those 4K, did you say? Yes, 4K for the day. You definitely can. I'm probably not going to write anymore tonight, but I might do some more beta reading or regular reading because I've started this book, How to Solve Your
Ooh,
Own Murder,
fun.
which I'm buddy reading with friends. And I like the concept of it. There's this woman who's told by a fortune teller in the 60s that she's going to be murdered. And so she spends her life gathering secrets and dirt on other people around her to
Ooh.
solve her murder. And then her great niece arrives at her castle or whatever, her manor, and enters this like competition to win her millions, which is solve the murder.
Oh, I love it.
Like, the concept is great.
That sounds so fun.
So that's what my evening's gonna be. What are you gonna do after the stream? Eat.
I am gonna eat, and I think we're gonna do our weekly grocery shop, as Marta reminded me. Our
Yeah.
house has like no food in it because we haven't done a like big shop yet since we got back from Christmas. We've just kind of been cleaning out what is left. So
Yeah.
I do a big meal plan. And yeah,
Nice.
adulting.
Nice. Adulting. Hard. Mop.
Yeah,
Mop the painted floors.
probably should do a mop also.
I'm gonna go vacuum that mud I just saw because I haven't heard the vacuum cleaner, so I don't think Jamie has. So I'll go do that. Because I just saw like literally, you know, when you see the actual shape of the dog's paw.
Oh no.
You just went outside and no one wiped your paws. Terrible.
Uh-oh.
All right. Well, on that note, I'm gonna do a cold ending as usual, guys. Let's never change, even in 2025.
Have a great summer.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this stream. We'll see you guys probably in a month's time at some point.
Mhm.
And thank you for coming. It was so fun having
Bye.
you.
So fun. Thank
Bye.
you.
I've ended it. It's gonna take a second.